here at Rmjm in Dubai. I've been here 5 years. Worked on many projects, currently working on hotels in Dubai and also in Saudi Arabia. I've been through your projects that have been presented by Lindsay. Very good work, very interesting. Interesting to see students' takes on hotels in this city where they're always building more and more hotels, competing against each other to come up with something new and different. When we're presenting projects, we're selling ourselves and our work, and it's very important to remember the client is going to not have much time, it's coming fresh, and they have to very quickly understand and appreciate and like what you've done. And there's certainly a sort of emotional response, it's not just technical, you get a kind of instant feel, gut reaction, is this appealing or not? So one of the main things I've been looking for in your projects is what's the first impression, is it strong, what's jumping out? As well as that, I'm looking to see, is there a narrative explaining your idea, can I understand it clearly without having to ask questions? Is it a strong idea that communicates through the design, including the furniture and materials, everything? Then, to understand it, there needs to be good perspectives to understand the space and feel the space, not just describe it. And also a good plan to describe what's going on, and the plan needs to be appealing to. But the graphics are very important for telling the story, communicating, and also making the whole thing look appealing, which lifts the whole presentation. I've been through all your projects, had a close look. I'm now going to tell you a little bit about all your projects and give some feedback. Group G, I think the strongest thing here is the material choice. There's an interesting material palette, well composed. But the graphics here aren't helping. It's distracting, you can't clearly understand, the background's a bit too strong, and there isn't a perspective to help you really understand the space and see how the materials apply and affect the space. Rivers, I thought it's an interesting, strong idea, and the plan has some potential to do something quite different. However, again, the graphics could explain the story a bit better, and it really needs a perspective to explain the space and what's happening. It's a little bit light on there, it doesn't capture the atmosphere of what you're trying to show, which needs to take in the sight as well, I think. Minimalism, it's hard to communicate minimalism by its very nature, because it's so simple and clean, so the graphics have to communicate that. I think the drawings and materials are working well, but it lacks one image that really says, this is what the space is like, and that's why I want to be there. With the light effects, material effects, it's all very important to really help sell this idea to your client. For Sanctuary, the plan's interesting, it's different, that could work well, and it does give a sense of Sanctuary. However, I think the materials you've picked, they don't quite communicate into the perspectives well, and again, this needs the perspective to really enhance the quality of the space. However, the idea is clearly communicated and the narrative's well done and works with the graphics. The Group H balance, well, this is the most commercially viable of all of them. It's very sensible, it's realistic, it's quite similar to kind of work we have to do a lot for real hotel clients. And I think the plans are well worked out and neat. However, the perspectives could be a little bit stronger to help explain the idea. And I think the material palette needs a bit more work as well to give it something a bit more interesting, give it its own distinct character. For Group E, Restoration, I like your plan, it's interesting, different, but I think that could work very well and suit the atmosphere what you're trying to create. I think any materials in your space can be communicated better in your perspectives, the elevations are okay, material palette's nice, and the graphics, they maybe looks a little bit distracting, that could be rebalanced a certain way, but good. Okay, I'm going to go through the three I've chosen for 1, 2, 3 now, and I want to explain why they stood out and what I think is successful, which applies to all of them. First of all, like I said at the start, there's a very kind of clear first impression of what the design is trying to achieve, what it's trying to evoke from you. So it's got a strong identity that through its palette, its graphics, that all work harmoniously together. They also have strong perspectives. Remember, a lot of the time your clients, they might not be in the construction industry, they may just be owning a hotel or in the marketing team making decisions. They're not used to seeing plans, technical information. They only really understand models and perspectives. So any kind of 3D information is very helpful. The landscape group, I think that they had a very strong material palette which is distinct with a good balance of colour. Again, the perspectives, by working in some materiality, they help explain the idea and why it's different. The narrative here is quite clear as well, going from the plan through the design materials, although I think in the corner where you've got some very evocative images, they're a little bit small and lost. And again, I think this applies to all of them. You have to think very carefully in telling your story, which images you present large, which ones are small, how you display the relative importance of your images to communicate the story that you want to do. Okay, I'm going to talk now about iceberg group. Very interesting idea and different. Innovative design, elegant design. I like your choice of materials and I like the way you've communicated it. The drawings have that sort of texture and spatial qualities to really help you understand what this space would be like. I think my only good comments for this one, again, the way you present your images and information to help tell the stories, but some of the perspectives could be bigger to help their importance come out. And there's technical viability building near an iceberg. You'd probably have much thicker glass and thicker walls, but we can more about that later, don't worry. I put it in first place, and I think they're just picking up all the comments I've made before for everybody. They've addressed all these strongly, in that there's a feel, a mood to the whole thing, which comes across very clearly. There's a well-considered material palette. There's strong images that are put in the middle at a good size, so straight away you see the plan, you see the perspective with texture, and you get a feel for what the project's all about very quickly. And then you can go around and get a bit more information and see how the furniture is also in keeping with the style. You can read and get more information. So this has good graphics, but not distracting. A very clear concept, well communicated, taken through to the design and to the detail. And good materiality and communication to understand the space. So that's why I made this number one. Okay, well, you've all done a lot of work and there's good results. I just want to give some closing advice. Remember, you work on these projects very up close, spend more time on it. A client's coming fresh and has a quick look, so you have to make a strong impression and quickly. And you have to learn to give yourself that distance to step back and say, okay, what's important here? What am I really saying? Try and put yourself in someone else's shoes and see through their eyes what they're seeing. And so something that might be important to you might not actually be that important, or not at this point anyway. And it's why communication is very important. Quality of graphics, having the right colour and palette, and just a strong design that really sells itself. Sometimes you might have your work there on a table or a wall, and it has to sell itself out. You're there to even talk about it. Sometimes you're there to talk through it, and that helps. But the communication of your idea, just clear, straightforward, strong communication of a good idea is always what